Truth and stories gotta collide. Alibis get swept aside. I got proof that can't be denied. The data don't lie, people do. Waves crashing, secrets in the tide. Facts and numbers side by side. Through the chaos I will abide. The data don't lie, people do. Look at the records, feel the vibe. Digits and bytes come alive. I stand tall with nothing to hide. The data don't lie, people do. May twist and tongues may tie. Plausible tales shape the sky. In the end you can verify. The data don't lie, people do. It's in the matrix beyond the eye. Hard truth that's flying by. Evidence you can't defy. The data don't lie, people do. Look at the records, feel the vibe. Digits and bytes come alive. I stand tall with nothing to hide. The data don't lie, people do. Digits and bytes come alive. I stand tall with nothing to hide. The data don't lie, people do.
Hello everybody. How are we today? Tonight? This morning? Depends where you live. Hello Rosie. I knew you'd be here. I knew you'd be wanting to see what turned up. Let me get some stuff on the screen so we can kick this off the right way. Hello Goldie, how are you? All right. Let me get a new share screen up here. Share. It's a Chrome tab that I want. I want this Chrome tab here. I left early from work. Oh, yay, Rosie. All right. Remove that one. Okay. We're going to talk about how digital evidence works. Because that's the focus of today's video. Essentially, the one that we're all familiar with is hash file. A hash. So SHA 256 is the highest sort of level of hashing to match your file. So your original source file has this number, and the one that you give to the defense has the same number, the same hash. And it's generally you'll use the 256. There's different types of hashes, but when you're talking about reliability, you're talking about 256 encryption. So before, hang on, what order? Let's just have a look at what's written here, because this gives us sort of the layout, the lay of the land, as to why I'm doing all of this, and it helps you understand the purpose of everything. So America has two different levels of evidence, rules or standards. Hello, older than dirt. I'm glad you caught this too. So it's got a federal, and then each state has their own. Generally, what I have found, I could be wrong because I'm not a lawyer, okay, but just generally what I have found by comparing the different states is that they all sort of start with the federal rules of evidence, and then each state sort of builds on that in their state. That's my general understanding of it. And then you have states like Massachusetts, for example, that I think they decided not to codify. There's a certain way they went about it where they didn't do it the same way the other states did. And so that gave Auntie Bev, for those who don't know, that's the trial judge in the Karen Reid case, that gave her an out. So she didn't have to care about authenticity of digital evidence because Massachusetts doesn't have the same codified standards as most of the other states. So I'm just going to show you, I'm just going to read a little bit of this and then show you what I'm talking about. All right. So what separates a persuasive file from legally defensive evidence? So they got 3 independent pillars. There's authenticity, integrity, and a verifiable chain of custody. And those are backed by recognized legal and technical standards from the moment of capture. So we're going to talk about those 3 standards and different ways that different courts get around those. I mean, generally it's up to the judge to decide those, whether those standards have been met. So authenticity can be the record keeper says, I declare these are authentic. So we had a major breakdown in the Karen Reid case where the Pequisite farm footage, I think it was, the Pequisite farm footage was presented to Louis Jutras, the record keeper. He was also the record producer, on a CD. And do you recognize this? And he said, no, I don't. It's not what I gave you. So that kind of fell apart. But also there was another moment in I think it was the pre-trial. It was pre-trial 2.0 because Karen Reid had 2 trials. In the second trial, Elizabeth Little basically said to the judge, we need access to the raw unedited files. We need access to that. And that's what she was dealing with, what we're going to go through today. And the trial judge, or Auntie Bev, basically said, what was it that she said to Liza Little? Her words were like, what would you have them do, Ms. Little? Invent a chain of custody where none exists? And my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what are you talking about? Evidence with no chain of custody. What are you talking about? And that was when I learned, oh, well, Massachusetts has this different way of doing the rules of evidence. And that gives Auntie Bev this like door to get out of. Anyway, digital evidence has, where's the federal code? Digital evidence is admissible in court when it meets 4 conditions: authenticated origin, linking the file to a verified source and timestamp, proven integrity, confirming no alteration occurred after capture, a documented chain of custody recording every access event by everyone who accessed it, and compliance with applicable legal frameworks such as the federal rules of evidence. So federally, rules 901 and 902 cover the federal rules of evidence. And then each state has under that their own rules of evidence. So obviously today we're going to be talking about video evidence. Authenticity, integrity, the foundation of admissible digital evidence. It refers to the set of legal and technical conditions that a digital file must satisfy before a court can accept it as proof. What's the first one we know of? Hashing. So let me switch over to this screen, share this tab instead. This is an exhibit from the Karen Reid trial. And thank you to Adam for sharing this color coded version of the same thing. I'm going to knock my little picture off the bottom, and I might actually knock my name off as well, because you can't hide that. There we go. That way there's nothing in the way and you can see everything. Hello, Kev. Supermods in the house. I said that plural, so don't start fighting. So in this little diagram here, we're seeing different hash files. So this is the screenshots that Colleen Crawford took to enter into evidence against Karen Reid. And as you can see in her report up top, you can see the hang on, let me just point to things. See this red box? All right, that hash number is supposed to match this hash number, but it doesn't. Right, so there's a discrepancy with the red box and the red underline. Then looking at the second split screen image, that hash number does not match that hash number. Third one in the blue, that one does not match that one. And then the last one in the yellow, that does not match that. So in the case of Auntie Bev, she was able to overlook that because, as I said, the FRE 901 exactly, Rose knows exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, Auntie Bev was able to get around that because Massachusetts hasn't codified their state rules of evidence the same way that other states have. Now, it still comes back to the judge. So you need to tell the judge, I need the raw files. And the judge rules on, it's a motion to compel, I think. And then the judge says, yes, that's warranted in this case. So what would you show the judge? You'd probably show them something like what I have done so far with Ben's files. Now, I'm just going to point out, Ben's files are not as fucked up as Karen's files, okay? There was literally zero fucking evidence in a Karen Reid case that wasn't tampered with. And this created a problem for her because she needed that evidence to be admitted. There's different ways you can go about this. You can have it excluded. But if that evidence supports another argument that you're making, you can't exclude it. So she was caught between a rock and a hard place in her case because the evidence that she knew wasn't raw original evidence, was actually evidence that she needed to prove other elements against what they were claiming. And I have a feeling Ben's going to find himself in the same kind of situation. And this brings us to this is how prosecutors are getting away with it. Because first of all, even if you do notice something obvious, which Ben has, he rang American Fork Police Department and says, look, you have redacted PII that you shouldn't have redacted because it wasn't PII. And she denied it. So even though you can tell just by observation and your own technique that these files are not what they should be, prosecutors are still getting away with it. And it's because defense teams don't have their own tools to be able to determine this file doesn't match what it should match. So that's the kind of software that I'm working on for defense teams so that they can have their own tools. So the tools that are available are very, very expensive and they're very prosecution centric. So what you generally find is that with videos, for example, 99% of defense attorneys will just play a video file. It's a passive object to them. So their workflow consists entirely of clicking play on a standard media player. So a standard media player will only read the metadata in the headers. and it will say we have to put this frame on the screen for this amount of time and then this frame on the screen for this amount of time. But quite often what happens is you might have someone like Colleen Crawford working on your files, and all of a sudden those headers don't match what's actually written into the binary of the video file. So the frames themselves, the packets they fall into, their group of pictures, that data doesn't match what's in the header. But a standard media player isn't reading that. It's only reading the header. So you can have a mismatch in what's actually being shown on the screen. So that's why the standard media player is totally inadequate for defense attorneys. All right. The second point is commercial forensic software is primarily built for prosecution. It's not necessarily built for defense. So we're talking about Celebrite, Magnet Forensics, Axon, Axon Investigate. These are almost exclusively marketed to law enforcement. They're high-end suites, high-end software suites, and they're very, very expensive to subscribe. Most of it's under subscriptions, these days. The tools are priced at thousands of dollars per seat per year, putting them completely out of reach for underfunded public defender offices and small mum and dad, mum and pop shops. So that they're automated suites, and they're primarily designed to ingest and package evidence for the state, not to act as, defensive scanners that actively alert on an attorney to subtle anti-forensic altercations or timeline fractures that we just discussed. Connie, how's it going, babe? Oh, you've got more super mods now to battle with, Kevy. Well, thanks for saying hello, Connie, but you do what you got to do. I'm probably interrupting your evening, but go ahead and listen. So where are we? So we're talking about editing pipelines today, not necessarily deliberately edited, which we have in the Karen Reed case. Sometimes it's just they took it outside of its forensic pipeline. So the Axon software itself ties everything together. The Axon will go, this is the hash for the original file. This is the hash for the copy file that I just made with the redactions or whatever in it. And then this is the person who did it. This is the time that it was done. So all of that is saved in the file. When you go outside of the Axon software pipeline, you leave other fingerprints behind, like the actual software that you did use and not the Axon software fingerprints, for example. So these are the types of things that your average lawyer has no idea about, essentially. And the only reason I do is because I have a degree in it. So, well, I don't have a degree in forensics. I have a degree in software engineering, which gives you all the basics, like what is a binary? What is it supposed to look like? How do you know when it's changed? Like all that sort of stuff is the background that you probably should have if you're going into forensics. So that's how I've been teaching myself the forensic stuff, because I already have that solid background knowledge to begin with. But lawyers don't have that. They don't even have the foggiest about, mismatching hashes. Although I have to give Karen's team credit where credit's due. She had some very smart lawyers on her team, and they understood it implicitly. So the third thing was the there's no technical automation for the defense. So they've got to hire someone like me, basically. Lawyers are stupid. Well, they're not. They're not all stupid. Like, Rosie, if you haven't watched the Karen Reid trial and seen Robert Alessi completely dissect like STEM information to a jury, you ain't seen nothing yet. Backman Turner Overdrive. You ain't seen nothing yet. Wait till you see Alessi do it. He's pretty fucking smart. Okay, so yes, YouTube's having some problems with the chat screens older than dirt. I apologize on behalf of YouTube. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but you do have to refresh if shit like that happens. Okay, so because there is no standard push button software available to defense teams that automatically cross checks the files, STT or CTTS tables, or even STCO offset tables against decoded packet streams, Defence Counsel is entirely blind to the derivative loophole that a lot of prosecutors are taking advantage of. They accept what is handed over in discovery because they literally lack the tools to see the digital fingerprints that we are going to look at today. Now, not a fair comparison. Alessi is in a league of his own when it comes to the technical shite. He is, Kevy, I agree. He completely is, but he's a work of art to watch as well. So, as well as saying that to Rosie, you should watch because it is a work of art. So, those of us who are into who are tech heads and anal about our reports, like things that Alessi did that made us all like cheer with joy was like color-coded tabs in his files, for example. So he gave the judge this whole binder of evidence about a particular thing she had grave concerns over, and he even color-coded the tabs for her. And we were all like, oh my god, Alessi's like the STEM daddy. Anyway, so that's the point of me trying to write some software for defense teams. It's not the final thing that you're going to need to battle a motion in court or cross-examine an expert. Like, you need an expert, you need to be able to cross-examine an expert, but it's the type of tool you need to be able to put a spreadsheet in front of a judge and to compel them to compel the prosecution to give you the evidence, like actual evidence, not this freaking derivative bullshit. So when you take a file out of Axon and you process it through a different pipeline, we're calling it a derivative. It's not the original source file. Kevy says it's like comparing Premier League football and Division 4 football for the real football lovers. Or for those in Australia, it's like comparing rugby versus, what's the other one? Goldfish? Rugby union versus, what's the other one? It's another league, isn't it? Goldfish will know. But anyway, he'll come up with it in a second. So the type of argument you're going to make to a judge is like, the prosecution is exploiting a technical software gap to introduce modified, structurally deficient derivatives, something along those lines. And then you show the judge a spreadsheet on why you're making that claim. And being able to put a spreadsheet in front of a judge who's probably just as technically illiterate as defense attorneys or prosecution generally are, is a powerful tool. AFL, thank you. Thank you, Goldfish. AFL is the other one. Rugby union and AFL. Kangaroo wrestling, no. So my theory is the more this is done by defense attorneys, like the more they question the quality of the evidence that they're being given in court, the more common knowledge it becomes between, all sides, prosecution and defense, and all states, that these derivatives must be scrutinized like a little bit more closely. So to switch to Utah law, digital evidence derivatives, such as copies, printouts, or processed output like video files, they're governed by general evidentiary principles requiring authentication, accuracy of the duplicates, and a reliable chain of custody. So your rugby league too. Thank you, Quizzical. A couple of Aussies in the house today to help me out with shit because I don't watch any sports. So the reliable chain of custody is how that file links back to the original source. So as I said before, Axon will give you a hash value, a 256 encrypted hash value for your original source. But if it had to export a file, it's obviously not going to match. So then you will get a different hash file, but inside the Axon software itself, it's creating a software audit, and it will tell you this hash file goes with this derivative file. And that's how you get the chain of custody in the Axon suite. Hello, Rachel. It's good to see you. It's good. It's cold, but it's good. It's good down under. All right. So the core rules for digital derivatives fall under Rule 901, authentication, which I think is the federal rules, right? So we're talking Utah now. They rely on the federal rules. So the proponent must show the derivative data is what it claims to be. In looking at the screenshot you were looking at right now, we can see it's not what it claims to be because the hashes don't match. They'll do it often using witness testimony or system reliability. In the case of Axon, there is actually an audit report that gets produced when you do these things. And then with duplicates and copies, so replicas of digital files are generally admissible under a genuine question. A generally admissible unless, I'm reading my notes here, so I'm misreading my notes. Unless a genuine question is raised about the original's authenticity or the fairness of using a derivative. And in a case of, your dash cam or body worn camera doesn't have a chain of custody, that's an argument you need to raise. But many lawyers are just not raising it because they don't have the tools to get in there and see it for themselves. So let's move on to my thumbnail. Says that these files failed an audit. So what audit? My audit. As an expert in software engineering and bits and bytes and binary, I set up my own audit outside of existing software that prosecutors generally use, and is generally only used to create those connections between the chain of custody and the authenticity. Mine's doing completely different. It's saying, were those created? And if not, how do they differ? So that's the difference between the two types of software. And so which techniques did I use? for the Reckless Ben videos. So I'm going to show you each of the techniques in a spreadsheet. So don't stress if what I'm about to explain to you right now looks or sounds like French, right? Because it'll make more sense when I go through the spreadsheet to show you what I studied. So the first thing is I separated the unredacted files. So for those who don't know, who haven't been following the case very closely, American Fork Police Department accidentally uploaded all the unredacted files onto their server, onto their public share, into their public share folder, and then realized what they had done and quickly took it down again. Well, they just weren't quick enough because literally everybody's got a copy of it now. So that was a bit of a boo-boo, but it gave us some of the original files that they're calling unredacted so that we can study what they look like and whether or not they are authentic, which is the first evidentiary rule, right? They have to be authentic, and whether they have a chain of custody that connects them together. All right. So there was that set that they accidentally released, but there was also the evidence.com set, which is still there. It's linked in the American Fork video addressing, their shenanigans. They've got a link to the evidence.com site, which is the public release redacted files. So I separated the redacted from the unredacted, and then I matched them by case and device. So we've got different cameras. We've got body-worn cameras and we've got dash cam cameras, so there's different devices. And I looked at their duration, their file name pattern, and then this gives us a controlled comparison. So we've got raw unredacted versions versus public evidence.com versions of the same footage. Out of audit. You're out of audit. This whole trial is out of audit. Al Pacino and Justice for All. Well done, Kevy. It's okay because French is a beautiful language, Rose. It is indeed. All right. So that was the first thing that I did. I got a copy of each. And there's things we want to see here. We want to see the durations are the same. They're not going to be the same hash files because one's edited with the presumably the Axon software, which I'll show you a little bit of shortly, to remove PII, which is personally identifying information. So number plates and, faces of children and shit like that. So excuse my French, since we're on the topic of French. So the next thing I did, so that's our control. Then I inspected the container metadata. So that's the outside stuff that your media player, general media player will read. And I compared the creation versus the modification time. I compared the internal clocks. The header declared clocks. And any handler signatures in the metadata. And then I evaluated the software fingerprints recorded in the metadata. So this shows what software or workflow likely touched the file container, separate from what the video itself shows. So generally, if you use, I'm trying to think of, if you use Move RV, for example, to export your videos with, then it will leave a Move RV fingerprint in the metadata. That's just one example. I use iMovie on my laptop to produce videos for my YouTube channel, so that will have the iMovie fingerprint in it. So yeah, I'm just reading. I don't have anything to show you on this. I'm just reading. Hang on. Let me get something else on the screen. Let me see what else I should be putting up here. Just so that you can see I'm just reading stuff off the notes at the moment. This is just some questions about the court, about how to do this, basically. Sorry. So I had a long preamble just stepping you through what I did do. And now I'm going to move, after I've finished the preamble, I'll move into showing you the spreadsheets. Rose is chomping at the bit. Show me the freaking data. Because she's like me. Stop with the babbling. For those who don't know, Rose is also a software engineer and she understands all of this. So, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything. No, you weren't missing anything. She understands this. So the preamble is for those who don't understand it. I have a lot of viewers who don't understand the tech side, Rose, and my channel is mostly about teaching people tech. So that's why I have this big, long preamble. So the next thing I did was I compared the media duration. So there's different ways to evaluate duration. You can read the headers, you can get it from the tracks, you can get it from the sample tables, you can get it from the PTS ticks. So there's a lot of different ways to get track duration. And when you've got them all up on the screen together, you can see where they diverge. So those are always, good signs that a file doesn't match what it claims in its header versus what's actually in the file itself. So if all the methods agree, then the inner media stream is probably internally continuous, like it hasn't been chopped up. And if container level duration disagrees with frame packet timing, then the issue is in one or the other. Now let me show you an example. This is where, let's switch over to this diagram. This is where you use these sort of observations. So this is a ring camera analysis from the Karen Reed trial. In this file, we found, by looking at these sort of artifacts and measuring them against each other, we found all these anomalies. And what the anomalies are telling us, primarily what this anomaly diagram is telling us, is that this section up to this yellow line, this section up to this yellow line, this section and this section are all completely different sections of video. This is not a continuous ring camera footage. This is being chopped up. These are fingerprints of stitching, slicing, dicing, whatever you want to call it. That's what this is showing us. And that's how you find them. You're measuring, what does the header data say? What does the actual frame data say? And in this particular video, so see the colors here? See, it's light blue, dark blue, light blue, dark blue. It's alternating. This is a standard H.264 B frame recording. So it's alternating between 1600 in the light blue and 0 in the bottom. Usually they're even, but this is specific to B frame recording. And so this pattern here looks all normal. But then here, where these two, the orange and the yellow boxes are, that's a segment join, because one side is saying 1584 and the other side is saying 16 instead of the usual 1600 0, 1600 0. It's divided up differently, and that's because when you cut your video, you can't see where that cut's going. You just get a anomaly like this. It's not visual. It's not something that you can see visually, although there are some things in this file that you can see visually. There's a mismatch timing. There's a content gap, which is this pink marker here. And it's 650 milliseconds difference between what is declared internally and what the header data says. So it's out by 650 milliseconds. In this particular video, we can see that visually, but often these sort of things, you don't see them. these sort of things. They're usually smoothed over. Would depends, like if you're not very experienced at it, you don't know how to smooth it over, but you can blend your videos at these points so that this stuff becomes less obvious. But this is what we found in this file, that it's made up of 1 and then 2, 3, 4 separate clips, not the original continuous Ring camera. What it looks like is instead of light blue and dark blue, it's just all dark blue, because it's even on both sides. It's 800 and 800. It's even across all of them. This one contains an STCS table listing every single one of these frames, including this content gap. So this is the type of thing that we can find by analyzing the timing signatures between the two. Let me just come back to the chat and see what questions we got. So it's 4 separate pieces of footage stitched together. Correct, Kevy. All from the same video. I don't know that it's from the same video, because Rachel just discovered the other day where one section might actually not be from this same video. So something to do with the snow melting on the footpath. So I will get to doing a show on that, because it's an interesting observation. So not necessarily all from the same video. Rosie says, so you're telling me people been submitting bullshit videos to courts for years and nobody's got the software to check, Rose? Isn't that dumb? Like, how can I be the only person to think of this? Yeah, here we are. 650 milliseconds will be visible in audio. 10 milliseconds is noticeable. Right, Kevy. And you've seen this video. You've seen where that 650 milliseconds is visibly seen, where it just all freezes for that period of time. So this is the type of data we are looking at. Let's go to all right, let's go to what I actually did find. So the first thing I wanted to test is so I've been watching a lot of police commentary on these body and dash cameras footages, and a lot of them are saying there's a 30-second buffer. Axon actually builds in a 30-second camera buffer, so you get that 30 seconds of silence before anything kicks off. And they say it's because of privacy reasons. Well, I looked up Axon's actual user documentation, and it agrees that there is actually a 30-second buffer. So all of the videos need to have a 30-second buffer, but they're not always going to be right on exactly 30 seconds. You can tell the code, I want it to be 30 seconds, but we're looking at MP4 files, so it flattens it out to a tick rather than right on the 30 seconds. So when your camera is actually recording, it's usually a TS or a PS stream. It's usually a transport stream, TS, or a PS stream. I forget what P for. What's P stand for? Rosie knows. I forget what the P is for, but a P stream. MPEG videos are that P stream, PS stream type. So when the camera is recording, if it's in one of these two formats, PS or TS, you'll get a flurry of activity when there's a lot of movement in front of the camera. That whether it's, I don't know, the office is running or something is moving past the camera really quickly, you'll get a flurry of picture frames. And so it'll be variable picture frames. Some of them, there will be a lot of picture frames in a small period. And in other ones, thank you, program stream. Thank you, Rosie. I knew it was something I was forgetting. So you'll get that flurry of your group of pictures. They'll be more denser when there's a lot of movement, and they'll be more sparse, less dense when there's not a lot of movement. So you've just got like, a Ring camera on the front of your house and it's just recording continuously, then there's going to be, and there's no movement whatsoever, nothing changes. You're going to have very sparse frame spacing or timing. But then you take that footage and you convert it from your TS or PS stream into MP4, and it just completely flattens it out into MP4 ticks. So if you're saying in the software, I want 30 seconds on the dot, it's not going to translate to 30 seconds on the dot in MP4 ticks when it's flattened out. So that's the important thing to understand. We're looking for around, let me get it up on the screen so we can look together. Replace that with that. All right, let me see what you can see on your screen. I need to hide that. Rightio. All right, you can see all that. I need to make it bigger. How do I make it bigger? Customize. Here we go. And then let's move it around a little. Oh, wrong one. Hang on. Oh yeah, you're good. It's all on the screen. All right. So what I did here was I looked at only the header data. Okay, this is not the internal stream data. This is just the header data, and it claims the duration is 1,730 seconds. But then if you take the other values that are stored in the header data, there's the create to modify time. So the creation time to the modify time will also give you an approximate duration as well. So that's another value that you can use from the header data. The deficit is 59 seconds between the two values. But what that adds up to is the initial silence in the videos, thereabouts, give or take a few milliseconds. And so what I wanted to see is that the same across all of the files? Does the deficit between the two values pretty much equal the same as the silence in the beginning of the files? And it does. The problem is it doesn't always add up to the 30-second buffer. Right? Some of them do, like this one here. So this is Laycock. His is around the 30 seconds. And then here we've got Hawkins. His initial silence at the start of the video is around the 30 seconds. Like I said, they're not exactly 30 seconds because of the tick calculation versus actual time. But they're all around the 30-second sort of marks. And there's a lot of them that are. And the ones, that we thought probably wouldn't be actually are. So hooray for open source. Exactly. It's 30 seconds plus or minus dumb hardware processing time. That's right. Exactly. Rosie hit the nail on the head. Dumb processing time. So that was the thing that I was looking at. Do we have any consistency in this around the 30-second mark? And we don't. We've got this one's like 119 seconds. This one's 60 seconds. This one's 119. This one's 109. This one's 119. So that was my first observation, that the 30-second buffer claim is not present in all of these videos, which tends to indicate that the officer is continuing that silence for longer than 30 seconds. That's the first thing I want you to notice. The one thing, why did I mark that one? So Nicosia body cam, specifically 11, I forget why I tagged that particular file. Oh, I know why I tagged it, because here's the weird thing. It actually is an exact byte for byte SHA 256 encrypted match to in both files, the one that is in the unredacted and the one that is in currently on the evidence.com productions from American Fort Police Department. They are actually identical files. So one of the things that you want to do here is when you find the discrepancies, you want to go look at those files that have the discrepancy. Or you want to go look at the files that don't have the discrepancy. The reason you're looking for the discrepancy is you're like, what was this particular window event covering? What would they want to cover up in this particular window event, if that makes sense? Where you've got files that, like for this one here, that actually are byte identical, they didn't need to change anything. So I decided to go and look at what that file was, just to see that it was something where, oh, they probably wouldn't need to change anything. Let me grab it and put it on the screen. I just got to remember where I've put everything to find the files. I think it's in here, right? Unredacted. And then, all right, let me find the file name this way. So you guys get to see which file they left identical in both the evidence.com public exhibits and then their unredacted accidental upload. Let me just type this in as a search and we shall put that up on the screen. Do a share. So this is a file that they didn't want to change anything in, and this gives us our benchmark of what Axon video should look like as far as metadata and everything goes. All right, so can you guys see this? Yes, you can. Coolies. You probably
Sheldon, how you doing?
You all right?
Anything you need?
No.
Okay, just keep.
You're probably not going to hear what's said there because I don't have my thingo set up. Hang on. Let me get my Duva set up for you. My Duva Lackey. What is it called? I need loop back turned on. Google Chrome and QuickTime Player. Here we go. QuickTime recording on. All right. Now you'll be able to hear it. Oh, you did hear it. Oh, this might echo now.
Sheldon, how you doing?
You all right?
Anything you need?
No.
Okay, just keep hanging in there. We're still working through some things.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So that's that file. They didn't need to edit anything. So it's identical between both exhibits, the evidence.com and the accidentally uploaded unredacted footage. So that's the main findings for this particular data. Let me switch back to this particular data. It basically is telling me that there's not a consistent 30-second buffer happening across these devices. So even when we just take like the exact same device across all all of the recorded data. 22 seconds, 4 seconds, 20. This one's probably close. This one's close. This one's close. This one's 2 seconds. This one's 4 seconds. Out of all of those, we've got 2 that deviate from the axon's 30-second buffer. So these are things that you want to look into. What is that file and why has it deviated? Why is the 30-second buffer not in those particular files? So that's our first 2 files of interest. Well, there's a lot of files of interest here. Anything that's not the 30-second buffer you want to look at. I can probably upload this so that people can go and look at it and work out what those videos are and compare them themselves. Now I'm going to switch to using some of those values. I just switched to the wrong file. Hang on. No, I didn't. I switched to the right file. I'm just looking at the wrong file. All right. Using some of those values. So I organized this by device. So fleets first and then body cams all after that. Then the media duration, which we just got from the other file, basically. The media duration. Then I checked that duration in the header for the track duration, the table duration, that's your PTS, STTS, STCO, whatever the tables are in the headers. The PTS duration, which is the tick inside the in the actual frame packets, and then the frame duration, how long the frame duration says it's meant to be on the screen for, and the presentation. These are all different calculations that you can make looking at every single frame in the entire recording. And these are the values that I came up with, and they all pretty much agree with each other. The disagreement is larger than a millisecond but less than a second. So as far as disagreement goes, I'm going to call those all pretty accurate. What that tells us is these are continuous recordings that have not got any obvious splicing or dicing or cutting or editing. They all kind of match, no matter which of these particular timestamps or durations that we're calculating, they all kind of match with give or take, larger than a millisecond, less than 1 second. So can you briefly explain what the 30-second buffer is? Is that the auto record where it records the previous 30 seconds? So yeah, it's actually just a silencing buffer. It's only an audio track, okay? The visual frames are there. It's just the audio track is silenced for that 30 seconds. So it's a pre-buffer warm-up, we'll call it, in the Axon actual hardware. If yes, the difference may be explained by the cop activating himself. The difference should be activate 30 seconds, and that's it. It should be not different. It should be literally consistent, give or take a second or two, plus or minus dumb hardware, as Rosie says. But it should be plus or minus 1 second of that 30 seconds. But the difference is actually the cops have physically got the camera muted, and they're choosing how long it's going to mute for at the start. And this is one of the issues that Ben actually did raise when he spoke with American Faulkner Police Department about their PII editing, essentially. I'm going to show you the BAM map thing next to all of this as well, because they've gone about this a different way. They've gone about measuring what was redacted. I haven't got to that point yet, and I don't need to because they've done such a good job of it. So it's different to the feature I am thinking of, rightio. So essentially, yeah, where they disagree, it's not enough for me to worry about. It was larger than a millisecond, but it was less than 1 second. So that disagreement is not matching the buffer difference, which we just looked at. So the reason I have these two columns marked in blue is because these are switching the logic. These are affirmative. Most of these columns are where I'm marking something that is a discrepancy. These ones are where it's an affirmative. The hashes match and the buffer difference is negligible. The hashes match, buffer difference is negligible. So that's what these two columns are telling us. The hash matches between the evidence.com currently public archive and the accidental unredacted uploaded archive. So the hashes match, the buffer is negligible. The buffer is actually identical. Here the buffer is negligent difference in the buffer, but the hashes don't match. So where the hash matches, we want to look at those files because for some reason those files they didn't feel they needed to edit. Where we have issues is all this shit. So I've only got one file name discrepancy. So I'm going to hit that one first because it's the easiest one to cover. The file name discrepancy in this file, which is, we'll look at that one. I will grab it. It is this file here. The file name discrepancy tells us, oh, did I mess that up? I did mess that up. It's this one. Copied the wrong one. All right. The file name discrepancy tells us that the Axon camera didn't create these file names. This particular set of file names. Someone named it themselves because they don't match across the two exhibits. Let me get this one up on the screen so we can have a look why this might have been an edited file. Once you see the footage, you're like, oh yeah, that makes total sense why that file is different. Are you sure they are choosing how long it is muted for at the but not all of them. Let's pull it. All right. I'm going to change this again when I switch back to the other screenshot. But so this one here has a discrepancy of different file name. It somehow has Apple fingerprints on it. So it's either QuickTime or some type of Apple fingerprint on it. QuickTime, iMovie, all of those sort of things generate Apple fingerprints. It's also got FFmpeg fingerprints that don't match the current server. So there's two different ways they're processing this stuff. I'm going to get into that next. Why those are important. But there's also a brand shift in those as well. So this one kind of covered a whole bunch of stuff, including a file name discrepancy. So it's like a highly interesting incident window. What did they need to hide kind of question. So that's what this is. And it is 2 hours long. And it covers staring at the Sallyport wall. Doing nothing in the goddamn driveway. Why is it just on continuous record here? There must be something at the start. Yes, of course. It covers, I think this is one of the times they pulled Reckless Ben over driving around town. He wasn't even anywhere near one of those idiots' houses, which I think that is there, one of those idiots' houses. So the 30-second mark should kick in and we'll hear audio, unless this guy has hit his mute button longer. Oh, sorry, it's the dash cam. So the mute button is on until he gets in the car, maybe. We shall see. There's 42 seconds. Yeah, so the mute button is on until he gets back in the car. For some reason, his cam is activated for 2 hours, which is weird. Totally weird.
There, we're gonna make sure we're recording. Perfect.
Now he's in, he's turned it,
Yeah.
mute button off.
They haven't said I haven't done anything. They haven't told me anything. You haven't been to the property since.
No, I don't think this is the Airbnb rate. This is where they pull him over.
I haven't even been.
You can read it. You got better eyes than me. Plus, it's mirrored.
Mentally or physically?
Well,
Are you okay?
yeah. Yeah. No, it's not my
Okay, there's a lot of radio traffic going on. Okay, what I want
Copy
you to do,
1082 times 5 at 1759.
let me see what, did you say that we're gonna be transporting everybody? Yeah, what's wrong? It's great. Awesome.
Rosie, I'm going to try that. I'm going to try and get a screenshot, like blow it up real big, get a screenshot and get the AI to look at it. So we should have a look at it.
So when we get down to the PD, you know where the Sally Port is? We're gonna get Pepper Spring. We're gonna pull in at the
Not at my end, Rosie. Is it muting at your end intermittently? Well, it is. Okay. Wait a second. Wait a dang second. Let me turn this off. They won't say anything interesting. I think what it sounds like to me is that the passenger or the driver, one of the two is a trainer and the other one is like new, and he's learning what a 1080 is, which means pursuit, I think. And then they're going to go back to the Sallyport for pepper spray, or I don't know. Sorry, let's try it now. Tell me if we're still got weird shit happening.
Your charge, fresh one off the charger in your radio, and then don't turn on until you get to work. And then leave the other one to charge. Then vice versa. Because I should make it pretty close to a full shift. Like, we've been pretty busy today. Yeah. And we're at 6:01.
Is that any better, guys? Is it not doing it now? Are we fixing it? Am I even? Yes, I am. Cool. Are we fixed it? Audio is back. All right. So I must have had the routing on incorrectly. I apologize. All right. Audio is back. Cool. I'll knock myself off here again.
Oh, I forgot to say transference.
You're good. We're all on the same call. They should know what's going on. We're just gonna have to work on stuff tomorrow. We're gonna be here a little late. We're serving the warrant, and I'll let you know when we're out of here. Yep. Yep. It's 100 West. Remember when I told you 100 West, that's super straight up and down road? Yep. I'll watch for cars this side. You watch that side. We got a Subaru coming this way. Hold. And clear go if you're good. Oh, maybe not. It's still clear on my side. Good. Ow. I've been assaulted. Okay, remember north side of the PD. Because I want you to go through something. Unless they just said something otherwise.
Okay.
Never mind. Okay. Thanks.
J31.
So you can go. Just go around and curve this outside. We're gonna loop to the left. By Laura. And you're gonna want to pull up close enough to hit the scan pad with you have your ID on you, your badge, where you get in with doors and stuff. Okay. So when you go into the left, it's gonna be on your left. Does that make sense? So Adam can wait. J80 right at the beginning.
J80.
Let me speed it up. Wait. Back to normal speed. Just in case they say something.
Okay.
You're gonna go in this big metal door.
Ah, I thought we were going to be able to eavesdrop. But no.
Transport.
I'll answer your question in a second, Rosie. I don't actually have a definitive reason why they renamed it manually. But I haven't watched it all the way through, so so I'm guessing as much as you guys are, but this is the first time I've watched it all the way through. I just thought, since I'm going to have to watch it all the way through, you might as well join me. Where's he going? Nowhere. It's just parking outside. Okay. That's it. So it just sits there for the next 2 hours. No idea. Maybe they truncated it. Maybe it sat there and recorded all fucking night. And they cut off, 12 hours or something. I have no idea. Anyway, let's go back. That was the only one that was renamed. And your guess is as good as mine as to why they renamed it. Let me just fix this sizing issue for us so we can read the damn thing. All right. It's a little off the page, but we'll come back to the file names. That's pretty much all that's off the page. So let's move it all like that. Let me see what you're looking at now. Yeah, that's better. All right. So that was the first thing that I noticed. One file name has changed. From what to what? I'll tell you. From I did put a note here somewhere. That's my hash notes. So in the public evidence file, it's just 26AF02066, which I think is the case number, and then BWC, and then Nicosia 11. When it appears, 11 in brackets. When it appears in the unredacted, it's under the case number folder, and then the case number body dash cam folder. Then it's under Nicosia 11 in brackets BC, and then it's under, because that's how I unpack the zip file too. So the file name is the case number dash Nicosia Axon Body 3 video 260311, and then underscore 1828. So the file name's different. I need to put them on the screen. Let me get these two on the screen so you can see them. I'm just trying to think, because I've got them in two different places. Hang on. Let's try this. Oops. Hang on. I'm just trying to work out the best way to put them on the screen so that you can see the two different file names. How about this? File new. Oh, that's too small. Let's get it. Whoops. Let's get it bigger so you can see it. I think it's Command Plus. Yes. There we go. Share that now. Window. There you go. So this is the hash. They both match with the hash. But under the publicevidence.com, this is the folder. It's in package 2 of 3, and that's the name of the file there. And then on the unredacted, the name of the file is this part here. So I don't know. What do you think? Because they wanted to store it with the case number. They're missing the officer's number, I think, is 1828. I think it's his badge number that they put against them. So that one's missing the badge number, the date, and the device number. That's what that X60A9522X is, the device, like the body-worn camera device number. So, yeah, your guess is as good as mine. I mean, it's not... For me to guess, there's nothing in there where they were, doing or saying anything that needed to be edited. They were just moving the car and parking it in the sally port. So as far as I'm concerned, it was probably a 12, like he just left it running. It was probably a 12-hour footage that they cut down into, just that 2 hours where they parked it in the sally port. I think the most easy explanation was the file was too long. Yeah, that's what I reckon too. But to rename it like inconsistently is absolutely sloppy. Correct. I agree. I agree with your summation. All right. So some more things that we noticed. Let's move down. All right. So just some general things about the files. Everywhere we see Apple and LAVF. So first of all, Apple is completely inconsistent. This Apple column, any that say no Apple, no LAVF, those are pretty much going to be unedited or awesome. They look like they've been processed through evidence.com. Any that have both ticks and even a brand shift are going to be processed multiple different ways. So here's the thing. Evidence.com is served by Axon's main servers. So the type of FFmpeg that it uses to extract the files has to be the same as whatever's on the server, the Axon server. Let me get a better explanation up for you. Rosie knows what I'm talking about, but this video actually might help fits some pieces together. Let's watch it. Replace. So there's two ways that they can do this. They can do it in the actual software on their hard drive, or they can do it through the evidence.com server. Most of the redaction stuff, they will do it on the server because there's no software update. It's just automatic. Everything's updated by the Axon staff, rather. So they don't have to keep their hard drive software suite up to date. They just use the website. So this is a video on the website specifically, and I have to pull this back to 100% again so you get to see all of it. All right. We're going to have a listen to what this says. It's got the basics of what we expect to see in the processed files, why it processes the file out of the original, how it links those two together in the evidence.com suite or software. So what we should expect to see in the file should map something like what is being explained here. And so when we're looking for how did these files not match, that's the next couple of columns in my table. How do they not match?
Action tools on evidence.com. So I'm going to start by showing what our bulk redaction function is. So here we are on evidence.com. We're within the evidence tab, and we're specifically within my evidence, although this can also be done within the all evidence as well, but I just did my evidence for this example.
So what she's saying is that the bulk redaction will use it'll use Axon's AI to try and locate faces and stuff. So it's got its own automatic bulk redaction feature. So you'd expect to see some AI fingerprints in the bulk redaction videos, the product of what she's about to show us.
So this bulk redaction feature only works on video files, not image or documents or audio. So for that reason, I kind of filtered those out by just putting video in the title. So what you're going to do is select all the pieces of evidence that you need to be redacted. And then we're going to go over here to the more active.
So she's got in here, she's got body cam, capture video, which is obviously a dash cam. She's got extractions from dash cams, but most of it's body cam. So
Options button, click on that, and then you'll be able to click redact. Once you hit redact, you're going to be able to configure the bulk redaction. So you get to select the download format that you want those to be delivered to you through email, the blur level, and for bulk redaction, the blur, the entire screen will be blurred out. So you're just choosing kind of what the level is for everything in the video. And then you have the option of whether or not you want to redact the audio in the video. So this is a great option.
So one of the things to point out here is if she turns that on, it redacts all of the audio. It's not a selected portion. It's like all of the audio. So we have actually multiple dash cams and body-worn cameras in the Karen Reed case that were completely audio silenced. Good night, Kevy. Thanks for dropping by. We will chat soon. I promise. I promise I'll pull my finger out and actually do some chatting. So what we'd be looking for is whether it's ISO or zipped. See, I don't even think they used this feature because there was no blur level. There was just black boxes on the redacted stuff. And I don't think any of them were completely redacted audio. But it's just good to note those things so that you know what to look for in the binary.
If you have to have a super quick turnaround and get a bunch of evidence videos redacted as quickly as possible. Now looking into the redaction tools when redacting an individual evidence file. So you want to find the file that you are looking to redact within the evidence, either all evidence or my evidence tab. So then you want to click on that file once you find it, and that will bring you to what we call the evidence detail page. So in the evidence detail page, you have these settings up here to manage access and manage sharing and publishing. And then you also have auto transcription and the fast evidence review, and you're able to review the video on this page.
So when they do this sort of editing, that will change the hash number, the hash value assigned to this file. But this software will link it, which is going to show you that this is linked.
Then there are a couple tabs down here that I wanted to talk about real quick. The first being clips and markers. So a marker is just able to mark a specific timestamp within a video for whatever reason. Some markers are automatically generated for a couple of reasons.
Before she goes on, the main reason you want markers is because you don't want to show the jury a 3-hour video, for example. You just want to pull out the relevant details, but the defense still needs to have that whole file. So that's what tagging the markers and keeping track of them inside of the Axon software does.
One being if you're using a taser and it's connected to the body-worn camera. If the taser is armed or deployed, it's going to automatically place a marker at the timestamp that occurred. Similarly, it will also detect certain keywords and automatically place markers for those. So in this example, the word hand and hands and thank you were some keywords that were detected and automatically marked. You can also put a manual marker in as well if you want to kind of indicate or mark a particular timestamp. So if you're for some reason want to mark this point here, you're just going to hit add marker, and the marker shows up right here, and then you're
okay. So that's the basics of how everything you're doing to that video is linked through all of this. And then later, when you want to do a what do you call it, an audit trail from the Axon's audit trail, it will list all of this with the hash file, with the hash numbers for any video it generated. But the point of me going through this was just to show you what kind of fingerprints I'm looking for that would tell us it's genuine Axon footage, or if it's been pulled out of Axon and reprocessed through some other third-party media exporter. You can use FFmpeg, which is just a standalone, doesn't really have a video interface, or you can use iMovie, it's got a video interface, or you can use Movavi, or you can use, there's a whole, there's thousands of different ones. I think a common one for YouTube is DaVinci Resolve. That's another one. But they all leave a certain fingerprint behind, especially in your metadata. Some of them export like certain timing and things like that, where you can narrow it down to a specific software, even if it's not in the metadata. So the point of watching how Axon does it is looking at this video is 3 years old, so there's probably some new features in this software. But they also have backwards compatible, like legacy features that they had in previous versions. They updated to new stuff, like the skin blur uses AI. The object tracker is one of their newer features. Just a black square on things is one of the older features. So they're trying to provide, backwards compatibility by showing that. But that tells me what types of things I need to look for in the binary.
So manual redaction and object tracker, these are our legacy versions. So we do have updated versions that exist within Redaction Studio. So the only one, and I guess the most popularly used one, would be skin blur. And what skin blur does is it basically searches for and blurs anything that is a skin tone or a skin color. So this can be a super helpful way to, again, super quickly just kind of redact anything because you know it'll get the faces. The only drawback with skin blur is that if there's anything in the frame that is a skin tone color, it'll also blur that. So sometimes the whole frame can become blurred for that reason. Skin blur, basically you're just gonna click on it, hit next. You get to select the blur level and then you process it. And the audio will not be redacted. There's no option to redact audio with that.
So that's the basics for the tools, the tool fingerprints you're going to see in these particular evidence.com processed files. And then a little later, she goes into what the software looks like to use it, and those different tools are here on her menu, and she shows you setting them up in the timeline. That's just the help menu. Past the help here. All right, we know that it's going to extract the video in MP4 format. And because she's doing it in evidence.com, it's going to link the original source files hash with this hash that's produced from this extraction. So, so when you're dealing with these sort of files, it's really important that the prosecution who's giving you the evidence in your discovery has to give you the audit trail from the actual audit from evidence.com. They can't just give you these files that don't actually connect to anything. They have to give you the audit trail. And that's what makes it authentic. This is an authentic derivative of the original file. But they're supposed to send you the same original file as well. And in forensics, what has to happen is that the defense has to be able to reproduce whatever it was that you did to this file and end up with something, very close to the same output. If they can't reproduce what you did using the audit trail of the Axon software report, then they can't prove that it's not been edited, essentially. So when you're using this software on their server, that extraction export is being pumped through FFmpeg to produce an MP4 from the results. It's being linked in the software. It's going to have a FFmpeg fingerprint, which is LAVF is what you'll see in the metadata. It will come out and tell you that FFmpeg version, which I'll get my mouth around it. It will tell you which FFmpeg version it used to produce that extraction. It may have an exception because the chief of police came out and said that it was the legit footage that got leaked that might make a difference with respect to admissibility. It's not the legit footage, though. This is what I'm about to step you through. He lied. It's not the legit footage. And he can deny all he likes, but the rules of evidence are best evidence, not. So if you've got derivative evidence that's got redactions and whatever shit in it, that's fine. You can put that in front of the jury, but to defense, you have to give best evidence so they can reproduce it. That's just how the rules work. But anyway, what was I going to go through here? Right, so that's essentially the bottom line. These are the things that I'm looking for. There might be some AI fingerprints where the AI is picking skin tones to blur things. And there may be clips like she just showed you previously where they've clipped things. They've taken a section of footage and extracted that. But at the end of the day, it's all connected by the Axon report, which connects those files to their original sources. So you can have a clip extracted from it. You can have the source. They both go to defense with the report. If they don't do it that way, then the defense can raise it as a motion to compel for the original files. This doesn't mean it's not admissible. It just means the defense needs the originals to be able to reproduce it and prove that it's not been edited. And I don't think American Fork can do that with these files. And I'll come back to why. So back to a spreadsheet. All right. These have been processed through Apple QuickTime. Everything with a tick beside it. This is the 50 files in the unredacted footage. So this should be straight from the camera, straight from the DVR drive where the camera streams are stored. They should not have Apple fingerprints on them. There's only 2 files that don't have Apple fingerprints on them. And I think that one up there is, we'll have a look at the 2 that are actually genuine first, because everything else is not genuine. So this one here, it has no Apple fingerprints. Its LAVF is missing, or if it had a tick, it would be matching. So its LAVF is missing in both, but it's not a hash match. We'd have a tick in the hash match, right? It didn't shift brands. It's pretty much what it's supposed to be, and it didn't switch file names. So we'll go have a look what that file is, because the shorter list is always, the ones they didn't want to edit, obviously. I will shut this down. Oh, so this is Ben's trip to, it's 20 minutes long, so we won't go through it. This is Ben's trip in the back seat on the way when he got arrested after the raid. And then the other one is, let's go to the other one. The other one is, hang on. Did I copy that wrong? Hang on. I think I copied it wrong. Let's try that again. Ah, God damn it. Where are those? They must be in here. All right, this is 11 minutes. This is the raid. Interesting. So the spreadsheet says it does have Apple fingerprints. It has no LAVF tag, but it was processed through an Apple pipeline. Whereas this one here was not processed through an Apple pipeline and actually looked all good. So that is interesting. Hang on. No, that was the buffer, not the Apple pipeline. No, that had a buffer discrepancy, not the Apple pipeline. There you go. And that's the actual, the raid footage, which is weird because I thought if anything was going to be edited, it would be that one, right? So We think the leaked footage was redacted. Yes. The leaked footage, I'm not saying that it was redacted, but I know it was processed through a different pipeline. Pretty much nearly all of them, except for the raid video. And Ben sitting in the back of the car getting taken to the police station for that arrest. So we do things by Utah State Code lady was improperly redacting stuff, yes. And she was processing it through an external tool pipeline. So if Ben's lawyers say to the prosecution, we need the source files because of, this spreadsheet, we need the source files. We do things by the book. Utah State Code lady can't say, no, you just get what I give you, because that's not the evidence rule. That doesn't go by the evidence rules. She has to give it to them. And then if she doesn't give it to them, they can then motion to the judge, look, this stuff has been pipelined through a QuickTime pipeline, and that isn't evidence.com. We want the source, the evidence.com report that ties the hash file number for the exported footage to the original source. Those three things have to go to the defense. Otherwise, it's a Brady violation. So, okay, but were the pipeline applied before or after the redactions, do you think? This is why I was comparing them, Rosie. I was looking at before and after. So I have LAVF fingerprints in the redactions, meaning those didn't. Here's the two things, okay? They're meant to be there because they're done through the cloud, but they're meant to match the cloud version, and they don't match the cloud version. That's the problem. I've got 48 files that match. I'll just give you the breakdown. I've got 48 files that don't match evidence.com FFmpeg version as of the 3rd. So that's May 2026. I've got 41 to have a brand shift. The brand shift means it moved from ISOM. Sorry, the standard Axon is MP42. So 41 of those files were processed through ISOM, which is not standard export brand for evidence.com. So I've got 50 unredacted files that are major brand MP42. And in evidence.com, 48 of 55 files, because they don't match, by the way, are major brand ISOM. So only 7 of the evidence.com files remain the original MP42. So they were not processed on evidence.com. They were just uploaded to it. So among matched pairs, 41 shift from MP42 to ISOM. So the original unredacted was MP42, but when it made it to evidence.com, it was ISOM. So in the public only files, we've got 0 unredacted files with a zeroed out date atom. So the date is the date that I don't think it's creation date. It's actually stored in a QuickTime atom, even though this is not a QuickTime standard, but it's stored in the QuickTime atom. It's a date time for QuickTime. For that evidence.com uses in the QuickTime atom section. There's 48 files with a created from raw that is the original videos, 48 files come up with create from raw equals 0, so false. And then modified from the raw data, 0. So 0 of 48 files, 48 files, 0 of them were directly from the unredacted footage. So there's no link between them. LAVS distribution was in the unredacted files. We had 39 that have no LAVF label, meaning they were processed on the computer. So they had no LAVF. So they didn't use any FFmpeg to export them in the unredacted. 11 of them did have it, but it's a 2014 version of FFmpeg. So that wasn't, they don't even match evidence.com. On the evidence.com site, 48 had LAV 6.0 version, which is 20. So I got those backwards. The version 55 is 2013, and then version 6.0 is version from 2014. I think that's how it goes. 6 of them have the older version. 48 have the newer version, but none of those versions actually match evidence.com's May 2026 version. I don't know if I'm losing the audience, but I know Rose is following me here. So yes, the LAVF mismatch column is important, with the exception of Nicosia's body cam with the SHA 256 match, the two that match with the hash. So, and then we got one file which has a file name mismatch. Initial silence changes, those are just so ridiculously jumpy all over the place. So the public initial so the evidence.com initial silence values, they jump sharply, like they jump way up sharply, but they don't in their original unredacted format. All right, so that's the findings for those. And then I gave you the brand shifts, didn't I? All right. What others did I have? I got other notes here. I couldn't show all of this on a spreadsheet. Not all of it. I was just showing you like the main things on the spreadsheet that were sort of important. And that is the LAVF here in this spreadsheet. It's not, it doesn't match evidence.com site. All of those ticks are saying these are the wrong FFmpeg version. This column here is saying these were all processed through Apple QuickTime or something similar. And then the brand shifts, where it's moving from MP4 to ISOM. That's what those ticks are. Those are all signs that it was processed through some sort of Apple Mac software. And that's it. So this is an interesting spreadsheet. Do you want me to upload it so you can go and have a look at what all of those are and do the measuring stuff? I bet you Karen White is being lazy. Is that her name? No, this isn't laziness. Laziness is you put it on evidence.com and you press the process button, right? That's the easy way. This isn't lazy. This is taking the files out of evidence.com, putting them onto a hard drive, running them through an external re-encoding software, and then putting them all back onto the server again. So this is not the shortcut. This is actually a lot of effort for what gain? So just looking for questions now. Am I clear what we've got now? Yes, you want them? All right. I'll put a link to these. I've got to upload them onto my Google Drive, and then I'll put a link to them in the description for you guys, so you can go and grab them. So long as you understand what each of the columns mean. Kay says I only see 2 possibilities. Go for it. What are the possibilities? Either she's maliciously doing it. Well, I don't want to say that out loud until I can prove it. Like, this is early days. I got a lot more analysis to do yet, but this is very early days. I can't give you a definite. I just can tell you what is actually recorded in these files. So here's what I suggest you do. You can take, if you're using Claude, if you have a paid version of an AI, I recommend Claude. Paid version of Claude just got updated to, what's the fancy version? It's actually pretty good. What's the fancy version? I'll tell you in a second. The fancy version, Fable. So they took Fable down, they put it up, they took it down, they put it up, but it's back up again if you can use Fable on Claude. You got to do it under usage credits, but if you do it through Claude, put LAVF is the FFmpeg version used to export the file on evidence.com. The reason it's not being used when you're using the suite on your machine, the installed suite on your machine, is because that is using a specific export that is, it's specific to Axon. They're using their own software to do the export through that particular software. But if you go onto evidence.com, it's got to support a range of different files. It's got to support an MP4 that came off your phone, or a CCTV that came from somewhere else. You know how when the police, they interview you and they go, oh, can you send that to me? They'll give you an evidence.com like Dropbox. Yeah, this is all going into Fable. Right, get Fable to, so if you've got the desktop app version of Claude Fable running, you can show it the folder and get it to go through all of the files. It's only 50 files, so it doesn't take long. Some of the big files you can exclude, like the 2 hours sitting there with the dash cam on nothing. It was an uninteresting file. It had no particular fingerprints. Ignore that one. Tell it to avoid that one so it doesn't take too long. But just put all your 50 files through Claude, and also give it both sets of files. Give it the unredacted files and the evidence.com files. Give it both sets of files, and it will go through all of this for you and give you an output similar to what I've got here. So kind of like a hash marker. LAVF is not a hash marker. It's just the version of the file that exported it. So if I use iMovie right now is up to version, what's our current iMovie version? Let me find iMovie. I'll tell you what our current iMovie version is, okay? iMovie's current version is, about iMovie, 10.4.4. All right. Next week it'll be 10.4.5. Week after it might be 10.6. Who knows? So that's the software version of the exporter, is what that is. And so when you get, say it says 10.4.4, all the points are minor changes to the software. But when you go from version 10 to version 11.00, that's a major software change. All right. So LAVF55 tells us that was FFmpeg version 6, I think. Yeah, software version, not save version, software, the actual software that saved it. For example, I work at a car dealership. Cars have encrypted ECMs. If they've been messed with and then programmed back to stock, it leaves a fingerprint. Yeah, that's right. So the original fingerprint in the ECM that the dealership that's built the car, if that's different, if that version number, that software version number is different, that's a fingerprint. That's the type of fingerprint you're looking for. So, so the software versions. Currently, Chrome is on, see, everything's got its own software version. Google Chrome is currently on 150.0.7871. That means they've done 7,871 smaller revisions, and they haven't updated the major version to do a major revamp. So that's how you work out the software versions, essentially. Anyway, yeah, I can put a link to my spreadsheets over in the description, or you can just do it through Claude Fable, which is pretty reliable. Once Claude can actually see the files, it's not going to hallucinate. If it can't see the files, or you're trying to upload them to Claude's web server, it's never going to work, because Claude's web server can only upload so much and process so much. You need to have it on your machine. You need to tell Claude, we want these skills. We want FFmpeg. We just tell Claude you want to do an anti-forensic sweep on these two sets of files. And Claude will work out the shit in between for you and install the relevant skill sets on your machine, rather than trying to do it through the website. So yeah, that's my, then you can ask it all sorts of questions. Any questions you've been asking me, you're like, Kay wants to know, what's LAVF mean? Claude will explain it to you, and then you can say, no, I still don't get it. Or like a save version, that sort of question. Claude will help you iron all that out. So, the police chief, I don't get much confidence that the police chief has a firkin clue about any of this digital evidence. But I'm not going to hold that against him, because a lot of lawyers don't, and unless you have a computer science degree, you probably don't, which is the purpose of my channel, like trying to help people wrap their heads around this stuff. When they see it turn up in court filings, or they hear it in front of the jury or whatever, the whole point is trying to explain it to you in terms that you actually do understand. The one thing I can say, Rose, is because these were exported into MP4 format from their TS or PS streams, it flattened a lot of stuff out. So it flattened out group of pictures, GOP. It flattened out ticks, timing, frame timing, packet sizes, kind of flattened all that shit out. So he is the final policy maker for purposes of qualified immunity. You're right. So whether or not he's a flying clue, he has a flying clue, may not matter. Well, here's the thing. If Ben's lawyers say, we don't trust what you've done with these files, we want the original source files and the evidence.com actual audit trail, we want those things as well, then he can't say no if the judge orders it, right? And I can't see how a judge says no unless you're in Massachusetts, because Massachusetts doesn't really follow evidence rules for some reason. I think Utah does. Utah does have pretty close to the federal rules of evidence. So I'm kind of familiar with the premises since my dad was a computer scientist, class of 1978. Nice. All right. So any questions, class? Feel free to fire them. if you have like, really in-depth, I haven't covered it in this show questions. Like I said, Claude's really good with this stuff. I wouldn't trust AI to give you, let's say, I wouldn't trust AI to do anything outside of coding. All right. What does the binary say? Bam, spot on. What is the, how should the code be written to scan these files? Bam, spot on. If you're going to ask it about, people shit, they're not good with that shit. Don't trust AI with people shit, all right? But since he was in the beginning, a lot of this is super sophisticated stuff has kind of gotten super complicated. Hey, KR, I'm on board with him. A lot of this stuff has got super complicated. Like I used to be able to build a machine from parts. Like go to the store, buy all the parts, build a box, and bam, it will go. I can't do that shit anymore. It got way ahead of me. I'm flat out keeping up with the software. So I gave up on the hardware. I actually taught my son the hardware, and he stays up to date with the hardware, and I stay up to date with the software. So we're kind of a good team because I don't have the headspace to fit the hardware. It changes into my head as well. My question, is it possible to destroy the original source material? Absolutely. Look at the Karen Reed case. They destroyed it. Well, it's anybody's guess where it is. I don't know that they destroyed it all, but I'm pretty sure they destroyed anything incriminating. Yes, it got destroyed, and all that's left is the derivatives. But we do have, stuff coming out in FOIA now where one of the police retired, for some reason, took it with him on his computer out of the office. So it's no longer on the police network. So when Karen's team paid this expert to turn up at the police department to get these original raw sources, none of it was there because he took it out of the office. Now we're seeing through FOIA, after, thankfully she was acquitted, now we're seeing afterwards that he had the files, he was prepared to provide the files, but nobody was coming to him saying, give us the files. They were trying to keep it separate from the office so it could never be connected back to the as the sources back to the trial. So why is the 3-2-1 rule not law? What's the 3-2-1 rule? Sorry. I'm not a lawyer. I can't answer these legal questions. I don't know what the 3-2-1 rule is. I mean, in my house, 3-2-1 rule is how long your food spends on the floor before you pick it up and eat it again. I don't know what you're talking about. Best evidence is generally across all of the states, best evidence, not worst evidence, not the crap that you've just given us that can barely be even called evidence, not derivatives. That's not best evidence. 3 different backups, 2 locations. Well, Axon actually does follow those. Well, a lot of them do. Axon, Celebrite, Axiom, Magnet Axiom. A lot of these forensic type applications actually do have the 3-2-1 rules. But then you have to have the judge say, where's the 3-2-1 audit trail? And in Karen's case, she was like, I don't know. Would you like them to invent a chain of custody where none exists? That was her reply to Liza Little. Like, that's not evidence law, is it? And the scariest thing is Auntie Bev is actually on the Massachusetts, it's a body that actually creates how the new legislation is going to be brought in and factored in. She just was on that panel that did the new Rule 14 during Karen's trial. They changed Rule 14 in Massachusetts, and she was on that board that changed those rules and then used them in Karen's case. So if Axon has a backup, is it possible to overwrite the originals? Yes, it is possible to overwrite the originals. But I think Axon will try to prevent it and create an audit log. I was going to say, I know the V5, the 5-second rule. You know the 5-second rule. All right. So to answer Rose's question, yes, Claude Fable will help you with this. I don't know that it will be as thorough as I was, but so long as you tell it you want to do anti-forensics, not forensics. It's the opposite to forensics. It's anti-forensics detection. Then it should help you at least get to the main points. So you got to write a lot of scripts. One way you can learn what all of this, how all this works, is ask Claude to write the script for you. Then you run the script at your end and you look at the output and you interpret what the output means, and then you copy and paste the output to Claude, and Claude will interpret the output and see if you both come up with the same conclusion. So that's one way to test if the AI is on the same page or not. Get it to write the scripts, plus then you learn what those scripts are doing and what they're asking. And you can, if you're familiar with Python, you can go, look, that line, I think you're comparing, apples and oranges with that line of code. Fix that line of code. So who can overwrite them? Okay, this is a good question, Kay. In evidence.com or in evidence.com and in the software itself, in the actual suite that they use on their machines, installed on their machines, only people who have admin permissions can do that sort of stuff. So not just general beat cops, only the ones who have admin permissions. Generally, they give admin permissions only to like the record keeper. So in Karen Reed's case, the person who's in charge of all of the Sally Port cameras and the dash cams and body cams, his name was Lewis Jutras, but he also runs the entire town's CCTV cameras and everything. So he's like the head admin, and then people who know what they're doing and how to assign the servers and the names and all the fucking roo and why they're overwriting files or doing administrative stuff like that, only they get admin privileges. So can we get a copy of this spreadsheet? Yes, I'm going to put it into while we're even talking, let me get it all happening. Let me get to my Google Drive, upload, upload CSVs. I'll give them to you in CSV so they'll open in any application, whether you're on Mac and you use numbers. Let me create a folder. I want a new folder for, I'm just going to call it Axon for this. I'm going to go into that folder and I'm going to drop the CSVs in here. So, documents. I'll drop a whole bunch of them into the fingerprints, the metadata fingerprints. Evidence and unredacted. Hang on. Evidence and unredacted. All right, these are the metadata files. Drop those in there. Then the Axon device order public manifest versus the public manifest. Yeah, which one is it that I got? Reconciliation is what I want. Let me give you the reconciliation. That one. No, that's just a single reconciliation. Axon unredacted reconciliation. Public manifest. Full walk of the cache. All devices. Duration reconciliation. That one. Man, I got a freaking ton of them. I got a ton of them. There we go. There's 3. Now I'll share them all and put them into the description box for you. Share. Hang on. Hang on. Anyone with the link can have it. Copy link. There we go. This is the first one into the description box. Meh. Edit. Description. All right, the second one. They're only very small files, very quick downloads. Turn it. Anyone with the link, copy link. That one. And then the last one. Share that one. Copy link and paste. There you go. Spreadsheets. Whoop. Spreadsheets used in this video. There you go. It is now saved in the description for everybody. What are we talking about in here? It still smells fine. I'd say go for it. Fats and sugars generally. Well, what are we talking about? Stanley says the French boy and Nimbin did sort my life. I'm not surprised. Damn, does vegetable oil go bad? That's what you're talking about. Aussies need to see the doco about the Aussie that helped something Philippe Petit to line walk Sydney Bridge. Huh? There you go. We're all on a different topic here. I don't think oil does go bad. And if you're reusing oil and it's got other food crap in it, then yes, it gets contaminated, but I don't think it does. It probably does have does not have a use by date on the bottle. All right, those are up and public. Those are in the description box. That's covered. All my notes are covered now. Let's go here. Let me have a look what I got. Axon, we covered that. All right, so Echo-based network got the actual video files, I think, directly from, I've forgotten their names already, Crystal and Ben, of what stock they had or what they took in as stock. Does anyone want to watch that? 2022. There you go. But use by dates aren't exactly like that's the best use by date. Is it vegetable oil? Yes, vegetable oil does go bad after its date, but the printer date is only a peak quality guide, not a strict safety deadline. That's what I thought. And I never look at the use by date. You're way fussier than me. I've probably got 10-year-old oil in there that I'm still using. Hey, can you do an audit on the photos? I can, but I don't have the originals. Did you see the premiere of BJC about Random LLC again involving Dan? Yeah, I did. I watch everything everyone does on all of the stuff, but those are not my lanes, so I don't generally try to talk about them. I'm not a lawyer. I don't understand how the LLC business shit works in America, so I don't often comment on those things. So I don't know how it works. I just have to take everyone else's word for it. Your olive oil smells like white glue. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. All right. You have the photos, Kay. Well, you better get those photos to me. Let me give you an email address. I don't email myself often, so forgive me for not knowing it off the top of my head. But I'll just get in there and copy it over to you. Oh, shit. There it is. Oh, shit. I missed it. Oh, there it is. Copy that. Here you go. Email them to me. It is currently 12:22 p.m. in Australia. So lunchtime. Time to start munching. Okay, any further questions, class? The links are in the description for the spreadsheets that I used today. Whereabouts in Australia? I am in between. If you draw a triangle between Byron Bay, Mount Warning, and Nimbin, I'm right in the middle. I'm in a forest called Hawaiian Forest. Or if you ask Google, it'll go Wian. But that's where I live, in the forest, in the mountains. And if I stand up on the top of the hill, on the highest part of my property, and I look out, I can actually see Mount Warning jutting out over. And on the other side, if I move a little away, like around the trees a bit, I could probably see the same ridge that Nimbin is on, like way in the distance. So, yep, coconut oil is a good alternative. I agree. Don't leave until I know you get them. Okay. Hold on, it's uploading 2.5 gigabytes. All right. I'll hang on while you do the upload and send them to me. And you're sure that these are the originals, right? These are not screenshots of the originals. Nimbin in 2006. I bet you're there for the Mardi Gras. The Nimbin Mardi Gras, is that what you're there for, Stan? Perfect. Thanks so much for your help. Cool. Glad the coconut works. I love coconut oil. It's got way different flavor. I also love sesame seed oil. But coconut oil is one of my favorites, and coconut cream is one of my favorite additions to, like, so you know how you get what do you call them? What do you guys call a cup of noodles that's all dried and then you add some water to it and it turns into noodles? Like, we call them 2-minute noodles here, but what do you guys call them? America's got a different name for it. I hear him talking about it in jail all the time. I just can't think. Ramen noodles. Okay, so if you got ramen noodles that are like hot and spicy, or any of those Thai or Indian sort of flavors, make them up as ramen, and then you add your coconut cream as well. Yum! Oh, makes ramen noodles actually palatable. I think they sent coffee screenshots of a video. Yeah, and I think they sent actual video to Echo News Network. Well, I'm not sure, actually. He might have just copied it from their channel, perhaps. Resin. Did you try the cookies, Stan? Wiggly noodles. Yeah, them things. Yes, Mr. Noodles is ramen. Instant noodles. Yep, ramen. That's the stuff. So my favorite brand here in Australia, it doesn't come from Australia, it comes from somewhere in Asia, I think Thailand. My favorite brand here in Australia is Suimin, and I like the hot and spicy with the it's the hot and spicy with the coconut cream. But I do that with all of them. So with the mee goreng, for example, I will add the egg, and then with the other ones, I will like just throw a handful of baby spinach in there, just things like that. So something to make it like palatable. Otherwise, it's pretty boring sort of flavors. Bro, they made hash out of so much. Right. And then they make it into cookies. So that was one of my specialties back when I was younger, like cookie butter. I accidentally discovered the way to, what would you say, ferment your cookie butter. I never aimed to. It was just very accidental because we were doing a batch. We were doing a batch of cookie butter, and out of the blue, my other half's ex sent the kids to stay for the night, and I had to quickly like cover it all up, hide all the smells, and shove it up in the back of the fridge. And then they ended up staying for like way too long. I can't remember how many days it was, and it like completely fermented the potency of the butter. So we had the best cookies ever. I've never had a cookie so good. So yeah, we kind of perfected that. I had to live in Melbourne as people come to Coffee Palace St Kilda to as the Frenchie with good. Right. I'm trying not to say any of the words that are going to get me demonetized, Stan, so stop it. Stop it. Corn Poke, my fave brand is the deadly spicy ramen from Costco called Samyang Carbonara Bold Spicy Ramen. Wow. Never even heard of that brand, but I'm a big fan of carbonara. I actually have a social media picture of some bananas and then some toy cars on a plate. And I often ask people, what do you think I'm having for dinner tonight? Wasn't even you. No, it wasn't you. All right. Oh, I got it. I got a mail. I got a mail from ya to your Proton Drive. Nice. Thank you, Kay. Let me have a look at them. Let me have a looky see. Bam, photo dump. Thank you. I now have them. Go on, babe. It's keep some milk handy because you're gonna need it spicy. That's exactly the type of spicy that you need to add your coconut cream to. Although carbonara and I was going to say carbonara, carbonara and coconut cream, yeah, they could go together. Some of them are edited by you. Yeah, the edited ones are no good to me because actually I could probably just tell you what you edited them with. Just looking at the metadata. I'm going to re-upload from the zip. Oh yeah, while I'm on that topic, Rosie, I'm going to do the GPS next. I just didn't have time to fit that in to the whole program that I've been working on. I'm still on like the outer circle core metadata. Let me do this for you guys. Let me give you a link. Use this puppy. I'm pretty sure there's a Windows and a Mac version and a Unix version. There's all different versions there. Let me just check. Yes. This is what you would look at if you want to, check your if you want to check your AI is correct and seeing the same things that you're seeing and not hallucinating, you'd use this tool here. Carbonara is the brand, but it's Japanese or Korean or something. I DM'd you a photo. Okay, cool. Yum. No, don't show me shit I can't eat. I can't buy it here in Australia. It's no good to me. What's the Italian street in Melbourne? I don't know. I've never lived in Melbourne. I've been to Melbourne twice on my way to Tasmania. That's it. I've been to Sydney once. So, no idea. Both times were in Melbourne were to visit my aunt. She lived in Doncaster. You don't have to look now, obviously. Oh, you don't have to look now. Right. I'll have to send you some. Look, I don't know if you can import food that way to Australia. We got pretty rigid rules here. Ah. It's Bulldog. Sam Young Bulldog. I can probably actually order this online. Let me go. Sam Young Bulldog. Sam Young Bulldog. Noodles. Nongshim. Shin Ramyun. Bulldog. Here we go. Yes, I can get it from Coles. It's different packaging to yours, but I can get it from Coles. There you go. That brand is Coles and Woolies. Yay. It's like sending Mr. Noodles. Yeah, I can get that Here is different packaging. Yours is pink and pretty. Ours is black and I don't know, different. Where the fuck is it? There's black bean and what flavor did you say? The spicy one. Hang on. BULDAK. Spicy. Spicy ones. Okay. Spicy ramen. It comes in a bowl. Spicy. Oh, I see. It's got the extra hot little flames on it. There you go. But it's not pink. There's one that comes in a black packet that's not as spicy. And then there's one that comes in a red packet, which is really, really spicy. So there you go. Oh my God, try and tell me what you think. I'm sorry in advance if it's too hot. No, don't be sorry. If it's spicy, I always add coconut cream to it to bring the spice level down. But I actually don't mind spicy, hot and spicy. Okay, re-uploading, Kay, no worries. From the zip. Where's the zip from? Spicy chicken flavor. That's what it says, spicy chicken. All right. Spicy chicken. Yes, the ones I'm looking at are spicy hot chicken. They're actually very expensive for noodles, really. Is this going ready, steady, cook? No, we were just talking about oils, and I said I like coconut oil, and then I got onto all the things I like to stick coconut cream in because I love coconut. The zip file is from CoffeeZilla, which he said came from the sources. Okay. Not the coconut sources, but the source, the image sources. I went ahead and uploaded the zip too. Radio. I totally hijacked. You did, corn poke, but that's okay because I was finished. I'm happy to talk about food or whatever. It's interesting to see the different packaging. Like it's the same company, it's the same brand, but for some reason they package it different here in Australia. His statement is he got the files directly from Bam and Gorman's. Yeah, that's what I thought. Keep going with the hijack. How to make ramen noodles edible. Add a little something, something. So my most common addition is usually baby spinach because it's easy. It wilts as soon as you put it in the hot water. It wilts, so you don't have to do any extra cooking. Throw a boiled egg or a fried egg into mee goreng. That's real easy. And then what's the other one? Your coconut cream with baby spinach. That's also really easy. Yeah, I thought it was weird that it's Pepto Pink packaging. Pepto Pink. Are you still moving to Queensland? Quizzical, I am, but it's all on hold because, Trump started a war and everything got too fucking expensive. So I'm on pause at the moment. Fuck off with the expensive war shit and let me bloody get back to my build. So everything's going up. Price of building materials, just driving to the fucking property and back, everything's zip through the roof right now. So I'm all on hold. Love a mixed egg in it. I'll try that next time I get it. Yep. With the mee goreng, it's perfect with an egg in it. But any soft leaf vegetables that wilt quickly in the boiled water are good to add to your ramens because you don't have to do any extra cooking. Quizzy, it was already expensive before the fucking war. It was already like just out of my price range before the war, and then it just went completely out of my price range. But I did buy my doors. I got my 3 big double sliding glass doors, and I paid $6,000 for them instead of $12,000 here in Australia. So say water again. Water. Did I even say water? I said boiling water. Why? Am I saying it weird? I'm not using the Australian bloody what's it called? Compote, so that I say it the way Americans understand it. Because we are paying for the war. We are too. Do that. All of us are paying for it. What's the word I'm looking for, Corny? The no. The noi. That. Was it called? There's a shark in the water. I don't know if you guys have been watching my posts on X, but since you mentioned shark in the water, did you know that if you watch Jaws backwards, that it's a heartwarming story about a shark who gives arms and legs to people who need them? Did you know that? Vocal fry. Thank you. That's the vocal. I don't use the vocal fry. So when you hear people go, no, you are, when they say no, it's just dumb because it's a vocal fry. So Aussie's got like a vocal fry, but it's different to your vocal fry, but it's the same kind of annoying thing. Nori. That's it. Compo says it better than I do. Kind of sad I can't first upload to YouTube in 2005. Nori. No. Yeah, that's vocal. That's Australian vocal fry, that one. So I don't use it. All right. Are you putting these in the same folder? Do I just refresh, Kay, or are you going to send me a new link? Let me have a look. Refresh. Nope, the folder's now empty, so you must be sending me a new link. I have Sautries. I sneaked in Melbourne Grand Prix and then got 10 mates in, thought fence as they didn't tear. No, I don't know. I can't read. You need your spell checker, Stan. I went to the Melbourne Grand Prix as well. When we were on our way to Tasmania, the Melbourne Grand Prix was on. We got tickets. We went, and I couldn't see a fucking thing over everybody. Everyone was too tall. Couldn't see nothing. I ended up sitting up the back watching it on the big screens because I couldn't see nothing over it. Everyone's way taller than me. So bit of a waste of money. There was one point where I was like, I seen some people climbing a tree and I was like, yes, I can get up that tree. So I hopped on the bottom branch, and before I even got to the next branch, security comes over like, hey, you all got to get out of the tree. And when I got out of the tree, I like stood beside him and I was like barely up to his armpits. And he's looking down at me going, sorry, it's the rules. So yeah, I ended up watching the Grand Prix on paid tickets on the big screens at the Grand Prix. 2006. Mine was in 1990. I'll tell you exactly what year it was. So it was my birthday. So it was like around the 8th of April-ish, 1996. I remember spending my birthday either in Melbourne or in Tasmania, but it was whatever Grand Prix was around that date. That's the one, 1996. And I'll tell you what it's connected to. The Port Arthur massacre. It happened 20 days later. 20 days after my birthday. That's how I know. That's how I anchored the year. So on my birthday, thereabouts, there was a beading retreat at Port Arthur. And it's like they don't have them anymore because of the massacre. But it attracts a lot. It was attracting massive crowds, like thousands, into this tiny little area at Port Arthur. And it was so jam-packed full of people there for beading retreat that cars couldn't leave. It's like a bottleneck road getting back out again. Cars couldn't leave quickly enough. So one guy actually had a heart attack in the car park and the ambulance couldn't get to him. So he died there. And then instead of us trying to get out with the thousands trying to leave, we just went and sat at the Broad Arrow Cafe and had a feed and a coffee. And then we stayed until the evening for the ghost tours. And so any of the footage that you see of him in the cottages at Port Arthur when he was like smoked out, that was actually one of the cottages in the ghost tour that we went through. Yeah, and then so the event itself is like a recreation of back in the 1890s or whatever it was, 1900s. It used to be a prison, and it had a prison hospital. So it's like mainly a prison and then the prison hospital are the two main sort of structures that are left there. But beading retreat is what they would do. The prison guards would be all the way up the end of this like bottleneck road, which is about, it's probably a kilometer maybe. I actually don't remember because it was that fucking long ago, but it's a long way to the end of where this bottleneck road is. So they actually had a post there for the guards. And back at the actual prison, they would sound the drums and beat the drums and do things there to call the guard change from that location out near the bottleneck of the road. That's what beading retreat is. They'd bang the drums, they would retreat, change the guard, new ones would go out. Anyway, they had every year they celebrated beading retreat. And the very last one was just days before Martin Bryant went nuts and murdered a bunch of tourists there. So, and I'm pretty sure that's what set him off. If I had to put a finger on it, they had fucking guns going off and cannons. And that's right, it wasn't drums, it was guns. They would all line up and fire their guns. And that would mark the guard change, not the drums. Just saying hi, good luck with the rest of the stream, sending out a share. Thank you, Mark. Nemke, much appreciated. All right, we're done. We've talked food, we've talked beading retreat, Port Arthur, NASCAR. I'm not NASCAR. Melbourne Grand Prix, everything in between, cookie butter. All right. Now, let me follow this link and make sure Kay has sent me the... No, it's still saying the Dropbox is empty. Okay. You might have to send me another email with the link to the new upload. Heard you showed some good body cam. Well, we're just doing a we were just doing a pick the shit out of the body cam forensically show today, because I think Ben needs to get his lawyers to compel proper discovery, like the actual raw videos and the Axon report, audit report. Tim Tam Croissant. You should check it out. Hang on, what's Rosie saying? Have you seen Legally Mine? Oh, Mime. Yes, I have seen it. It's funny. Hey, while we're at it, let's go and look at what's new on the maps, because I haven't looked there for ages. Bammap.com. Hey, where the fuck is that? That didn't go where I thought it was going to go. What? What? Bam map. The Bam map. Ah, there you go. Jesus Christ. Sorry, blasphemous. Blasphemous. The operations manual, section 6. If you want a rundown on what's in the operations manual, go see Echo. What are they called again? The Echo Base Network. I tend not to see people as humans. Hammond McNeff. Why doesn't that surprise me? The financing assistance that does not exist. The operations manual, sections 4 and 5 and 1 to 3. Table of contents. The approved vendor list. Approved vendors. Isn't it only Lego? I never liked Vegemite. That's so funny. I love Vegemite, but I only like it a certain way. I like just a tiny smidgen on a fully loaded buttered toast. Mark Nemke, plug you. Hang on, have you got channel? Am I missing something? Mark Nemke, American baseball player. Is that who you are? Wait. I might have spelled it. Nope. It was just a spelling correction. Mark Nemke. Parachute official. Parachute. It sounds like a song. A tiny smidgen. Yes, a tiny smidgen. The maker of Legally Mime. Oh, gotcha. Well, that was very clever. I like the site. Does everyone want to see it? I mean, you all can go there, but it's pretty funny. LegallyMime.com. Let me stick it up. Share. Hang on. Legally Mime. Best kept quiet. I absolutely love your sense of humor, dude. You rock. This is who you are. When your strategy requires absolute discretion, best kept quiet. It reminds me of Ashley Madison. That was the first thing I thought of when you put it up there, was the ashleymadison.com. Discover the unseen. Meet the partners. Medical professionals. Client confessions. Questions. Let's do confessions. Pretends to be stuck in a shrinking room. The silent partners. Architects of institutional deflection, structural opacity, and non-verbal asset containment. Aggressive nodding points to imagery watch. I just laugh so hard at all of this. The invisible rope defense really kept the IRS at bay. Highly recommended. My lawyer told me I needed to talk legally. Mime told me to become the wall. I chose the wall. Haven't been sued since. I asked for a legal strategy for my LLC, and the representative just pointed at the clock that wasn't there for 45 minutes. I've never been more confident. They don't do discovery, they do depositions. They just do high quality white face paint. Oh my god, that reminds me of the blue man group in the Karen Reed trial. That's so funny. Go to the dossier in Dumb and Dumber. The name is Petey, then Polly. I'm finding it hard to follow you guys. Okay, go to the dossier. All right, which is the dossier. Corporate dossier. Official proclamations, media mitigation reports, and administrative alerts issued in total compliance with strategic silence. Remember when archives declassified early student days before establishing a non-verbal litigation dominance and perfecting our silent containment barriers? The core leadership grid of Legally Mind were simply disciplined students perfecting their craft in academic corridors. Today, executive management unseals early archival assets as a tribute to our enduring corporate heritage. These declassified yearbook profiles highlight key figures across our operational ranks: Director of Drone Operations, Tactical Operative, Head of Physical Asset Dissolution, the silent brick in our generational pillar, the Vance dynasty, including Senior Auditor Hammond Vance, Chief Custodian Gaston Vance, and Legacy Strategist Sterling Vance. Above all, this historical perspective reinforces our foundational creed. Legally Mind is a family company, from early childhood practice boxes to multi-jurisdictional defense matrices. Our shared commitment to silence asset protection remains unbroken across generations. MimeCon? Oh my god, do you have such a good sense of humor? I love it. I love it. Or Be Quiet, the Justice for Tattle. How are ya? Oh man, I forgot about that part of Dumb and Dumber. Wasn't the parakeet a blind guy? I forgot about that too. Click all the pics. Hang on. Did you send me a new link? There's no pics. I'm serious. There's nothing there. Look, I'll share this tab. Look. It says it's empty. So if you didn't, when you did the upload, you didn't send me another link. Oh, you're still uploading it. Okay, cool. I thought I was missing something. So, guys, go check this website out. It is hilarious. You will laugh for hours. Picks on the top of the dossier. The first entry has pick arrows on the top of the dossier. Oh, here. Oh, Hammond Vance, Gaston, Sterling. How did you get that? That's funny as. Oh, look, that's friggin' Kiss, isn't it? That's so funny. Braden Brick. Band archives. We're so proud of our accomplishments in high school. We cheered you on as you played football, ran track, and sang with the madrigals. Good luck on after graduation. Love, him and Braden. My Medina. Sadima Bo. Bo. Gymnasium event. Phew. That's hilarious. You have a very good sense of humor. I don't know how you did it, kept it up for like a whole website. I've run out of notes, guys. So do you want it now that you know I've got your we've got our email contact, you just want to send me that new link when you're done, and I'm gonna log off because I've run out of things to talk about. I'm sure I could dig up something else if you really need me to. But we don't need to make this too much longer. Like, some people got to get their heads around at least the first part of what I'm talking about. So did you see about the second and third U-Hauls? Second and third U-Hauls. Where? Oh, which website is that on? It's at 37%. Yeah, just resend me the email, okay? And I'll follow it once it's there. So I know I promised I wouldn't hang up yet, but we're going. I want spicy ramen now. I want mee goreng now. I was sitting there just eyeing off the mee goreng going, I'm hungry for lunch. I said, like, ages ago I was going to go for lunch. So it's time to eat my lunch, guys. It's on the BAM map. Okay, the third U-Haul's on the BAM map. Go on there next. Thank you. I'll go check them out. Awesome reading stuff to do. Much appreciated. Hey, Ozzy, when we were talking about vectors, can you use .ai files? I can import .ai files. I usually use Inkscape. It's just like open source. As Rosie says, go open source. Go, you good thing. I can import AI files, which imports the vectors, yes. But can't you just export them as you should have some options to export them as, let me have a look. SVG, if you can, is the best one. That's like the cleanest import is SVG. 1 year later, I'd have the lot burger, no bother. All right. It's time for me to have lunch. My mouth is dry. My coffee's gone. I'm like chain smoking. I need to eat. Yeah, it's just an export, or it's a save as or an export option, I think, in the software. No, SVG. Hang on, I'll type it here for you. SVG compo. Open source is great on ramen noodles. Cut to the chase, man. That's what I said. All right, guys. Yes, I'm going to have some mee goreng with an egg on top. Yum. All right, guys. That's it. That's me for today. I got another Karen Reed stream I'm trying to rack up. Got a few things to go over with the Karen Reed stuff. So we shall talk then. Yes, Rosie, I'm reading the bear map. I'm going to do it while I'm eating. I still have to get Illustrator. Good one, Compo. Bye, Justice for Tattle. Bye, Rose. Bye, Corny. Bye, Kay. Thank you so much for the pictures. Thank you for the conversation, Stan. It's all over the shop, but you're entertaining at least. T-Brunk. And I've forgotten his name already, Mark. Nemki, thank you so much for dropping by and love your website. Bye, guys.